Good evening and welcome to the sixth episode of Tones, Sounds of Asian America by the Asian American Resource Center. My name is Bianca Soyomayagua Galvan, and I am the event coordinator at the ARC. The ARC is a City of Austin Parks and Recreation cultural facility, which is dedicated to providing spaces, services, resources, and programs through an Asian American Pacific Islander perspective. Our Tones event is currently monthly, every second Thursday at 7 p.m., streamed live here on the ARC Facebook and Austin Parks and Recreation YouTube. Tonight, we have a very special show for you in honor of APA Heritage Month. We will begin with an artist talk featuring three of our artists that will perform tonight: Nay of Adobo, Nagavali, and Honey Sun, Mars and Olivia Sweet, along with one of our artists from next month's Tones, MJ from Stretch Panic. Myself and Marlon Hedrick, also known as Tassie, who is a rapper, poet, and archivist, and co-curator of Tones, will be moderating our conversation with the artists. We also have Fabian Duran, our public event leader, who manages the tech and live stream for Tones. The Tones series shares the wonderful talents of our diverse Asian American creative community and music that spans across generations, genres, and background. And I'm so happy to have our artists go behind the music with us tonight. So we'd like to go right into our artist talk and ask all of our artists to introduce yourselves and tell us about your music, anything you've been working on during COVID, and what are your plans going forward?
Should I go first?
Yes, please.
Nagavali, Medi Cherla. I just use Nagavali as my artist name. I blend of Western pop rock with East Indian overtones. I call my music Eastern soul. Through that, I've just had this wonderful opportunity to collaborate with just an amazing range of musicians here in Austin and beyond. I also play more traditional spiritual bhakti kirtan music from East India. That's a little about me. I did recently join the Austin Music Commission as a commissioner, so that's something I'm really looking forward to participating in.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
MJ, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My cat. This is Pan. He's not the musician in the family, but I'm MJ. I play in Stretch Panic, which is we call ourselves a little bit of ghoul pop, but we're a garage pop band, all girls. We do a lot of harmonies. It's like a little bit of 60s meets the 90s, a little bit of post-punk from the late 80s. It's very silly and cartoony. We haven't performed in over a year, so we're excited to share a little live backyard performance with y'all next month. We just released an album that was recorded late 2019, but kind of was on hold for a long time. And then we finally got it out this year. It's called Glitter and Gore, and it's our 13 most haunted tracks from our set. Very excited about it.
Thank you. Adeva?
Hi, I'm Nay Wilkins. I go by Adobo for my solo project, and I also lead a band called Hikes. And yeah, I make music, and I just released an album with Adobo and the Kraken Quartet at the beginning of the pandemic, and we haven't even played a release show. And I guess Hikes just released a record right before the pandemic. So there's all this balled up energy, but honestly, I've been extremely grateful to have a break from it so I can realize how important it is to me. So very honored.
Feel you on that. I very much feel you on that.
Thank you. Honey Sun, Mars and Olivia?
Yeah, how's it going? I'm Mars Wright.
I'm Olivia Harmony. This prior night.
It's
very long and very hard to say.
I go by Honey Sun for my stage name.
My stage name is Olivia Sweet.
I typically do a solo looping kind of alternative R&B thing.
I just sing.
A little more than that, but yeah,
Well,
Olivia's.
yeah, kind of, but but I basically just sing.
Sure, yeah. The genre switches up, so Olivia jumps on with me, and we sort of just play what comes out, which is fun.
Yep.
The pandemic's been weird. I've actually been busier during the pandemic with work and school and her school, and everything's remote, and it's all crashing into each other at once.
Wait, Olivia, can you talk a little bit more about how you started making music? Did you always have an interest in it, or how did you start performing with your dad?
Actually, it's kind of not a really big story. I kind of just sang a lot when I was a baby, so my mind was like, I think I'm gonna sing more. So as I keep growing older and older, I keep singing and my voice gets better, and yeah, that's kind of just it.
I love that. I always want to ask artists whenever I come across, because I've seen most of you play in person and I feel so connected to y'all's music, but I always want to know the origin stories, right? How do we begin? How do we start making, writing, making music, writing songs? So I'd like to ask everybody, just how did you start making music? Has it always been in your life? Were you a late bloomer? And additionally, how has your roots, your origin story, your family's origin story, how has that played into the creation of your music? Does it play a part? How do you connect with that part of your identity through your music? So I'd love to ask that from everyone.
I just want to respond real quick to Olivia. She reminds me so much of, like, I don't want to say like she reminds me of me when I was a kid, but I just think it's so cool that she's making music with her dad. And I grew up in a lot of the same way. I grew up in a really musical family. Both my mom from the Philippines used to sing me little Filipino lullabies before I went to bed, and my dad also played guitar at church. I mean, all my music was Christian, but I mean, it was a very musical life, and just getting to like sing with my dad, and he wrote songs too and performed live at church. So that's where I got my start, just like little Olivia here, singing all the time. I was a kid who like did not stop singing as a little kid. Made my own songs every day.
Actually, I like that you I like that you I like that you love singing when you were a kid. Now I think after this I'll check out all the songs that Stretch can.
And now you know it's not just me. It's not just me forcing you into this. People do this all the time.
Yeah, some people do this for a living.
My dad was actually a singer when I was growing up, and like his mom was a singer. My sister's a music teacher, so kind of like Olivia, I just kind of been around it, not really thinking too much of it. So
I did not grow up in like a musical household or anything like that. Like they liked music. My dad played trumpet a long time ago, but it was never like a thing. And they were like really supportive of it, even when I started out, which I was like playing drums in like metal bands when I was like 13. But otherwise, it wasn't really a musical house, and it wasn't really something they thought I could like pursue as like my career or something like that. My mom also sang to me a little like the others.
Oh, love that.
Well, I grew up in a very music-loving family. I have some relatives who performed professionally or otherwise, but not particularly with my mom and dad. They absolute lovers of music and art. I grew up learning classical music for a long time in India, although I don't very actively pursue pure classical music anymore. Um, I started writing the kind of the brand of quote unquote Eastern soul music after moving to Austin, really. And I knew it was a music town. I had no idea how to go about navigating uh, the, the live music scene. It took me several years to figure that out and find, some good people, really talented folks to play with and settle in.
Come
So
on.
I would be curious because I know like all of y'all kind of talked about having some family that, most of y'all talked about having some family members that sung to you or had, a musical background. And so that kind of influenced you. And it sounds like most of y'all had, support as far as music. But was it something where your family supported you as far as pursuing it as a career? Or because, we talk a lot about like the model minority, right? Myth in our Asian American culture and kind of these expectations to go into these certain fields. And so a lot of times like kids, like Olivia, don't feel that support from their family to actually pursue the creative things that they want to do. So I'd be curious to know, like, did you have that support or how did that kind of journey go?
Oh man. My Lola, I feel like my mom, like she adapted and she was like very supportive. But still when I go visit my Lola, she's like she's like, it's okay, you'll have a job someday.
My Lola thought I should be married by now and having babies.
Exactly. She's like, you'll have kids and a job one day.
Uh, it's that seems to be so common, right? Well, I actually work in the technology sector as well, as of today, even today, and I've done that in parallel for the last 20 years. Um, and of course, my family was very supportive of me pursuing music, but probably didn't imagine it in the context that I landed in. So they definitely freaked out quite a bit, literally the first several years. Um, as proud as my mother would feel about, me going and playing a gig in downtown or something, they didn't have perspective as to what that entailed. And it being in a band was just seen as too forward. And I let that get to me, but I still just kept putting one step in front of the other. And it's one of those things when it comes to music. The drive almost comes from something beyond yourself, I feel. And so nothing could quite stop me, but it definitely caused a lot of anguish along the way to see them worry. And it's worry out of concern, but it still is not very helpful. So it's, and, then they actually, when they actually got to see some of the work and all that, obviously their thoughts have evolved over it as well. Um, so it's been an interesting journey.
I think
Yeah.
if I was singing Christian rock, my parents would be very supportive. If I was still singing at church, they would be really into it. But unfortunately, my stuff is like all about witches and goblins and ghouls and ghosts, which is like, so you can tell I probably didn't follow very well with my heritage. I kind of bucked at the teeth for it. So, and I don't think my parents understand the music I'm making. They like don't want to try to get it at all. So they want me to be happy. So I'm really grateful that my parents really want me to be happy. But they I think they'll look forward to if I ever get a like quote unquote real job and a husband. The other part of it is I'm gay and I had a lesbian band, and that was the part where they were like, you know what? We're gonna step off and, pretend that you are not in a lesbian band. So I can't say, I have a lot of support from my family, but I think they love me. And so at least I got that.
For sure. I think
Yeah.
it always comes from like a worry of for my Lola, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, she came here in like a very long time ago, and I just finished reading this book, America is in the Heart. Highly recommend reading it. It's very good insight into the Filipino experience coming to the States, like, in the 40s or whatever. Anyways, so whenever she's like, says things like that, I feel like it absolutely comes from like a place of love, because she had to come here and make a life out from scratch and at like a not great time. So I guarantee that the love is there for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that is a common sort of diasporic experience for anyone making music or anything creative. Um, and I'm mixed race, and my dad was from Kansas and white and pretty traditional, pretty conservative. So I feel like his support for my music, although he did come around, I do feel like it's always been conditional, right? It's like as long as you do have a job, you know, or something that makes sense in the scope of how I've lived my life, then you know the rest of it is something I can get down with. But that makes me curious as far as, you know, what would y'all say to, you know, folks in the API or the AAPI or the APIA community, kids or even adults? You know, I didn't start making music till I was 20 or 21, who wants to start out in a creative field or who wants to start making music or art. You know, what would you say to those folks and the folks in our community who maybe are a bit scared or timid or maybe don't have the support that they might need from their family or their friends, right?
And one thing is having some, I mean, some role models, right? Like when I came in, there were, I mean, I moved to Austin in late 2000, dating myself here. Wish I had not done that. I'm just kidding. But it's having some role models, right? That you need people from the community that are playing out there, people that are, you know, kind of doing some of the music that you're also learning, and or look like you, whichever, and seeing some success there, and I think that serves as an inspiration. But one thing I think as an artist in any field is really good to understand why you are doing what you're doing, and that also comes over time, but not do it purely for, you know, some superficial commercial reasons. You know, it has to be something beyond that, because then it'll also come through your music. You know, that kind of authenticity will also then show in you what you're writing and singing about.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too, just to look for examples of people who are doing it that are making it work. I really, really believe in the power of like, and I know it's hard for people, and it has gotten harder for me. I don't know now, but like reaching out to people who like, I honestly don't even know like if I would be here sitting in this digital room if I like didn't reach out to some like Filipino Americans that like feel like I had this like explosion in my mind where I was like, oh my God, I'm Filipino. Like, and then I was like, why was this hidden from me forever? And then I like found people who were teaching other people that it was like not weird.
Yeah, that's where I started too, was like I didn't know where to start in the music world here in Austin at all until I started working at a coffee shop, and those guys were all, everybody who worked there was in a band, and I went to a show and then I met people, and finding that there were like-minded people that were in my generation, in my cohort, and I just wanted to have a band so that I could be up there with them and like get to support, and that was a really, really enriching experience. Like I love like like going to Mother Falcon camp or going to Girls Rock Austin. Those are like great ways to find friends to make music, because friendship is where a lot of that music can come from. I think something else that was really important for me too was like, and I've only started to really seize this, is being okay with my own voice, being committed to, you know, being okay with my own story, not trying to fit a certain narrative that I think people want to see or hear, or trying to change myself to try to like feel more like I fit in with this particular narrative or this particular trend or this particular sound because that's what people seem to like. And I feel like I have fallen in that mistake, and then every time it's like really just like a lie to myself, and it prevents me from making music that's honest and sincere. And I'm still working through that too, because I've had to, you know, I've just like Nay, I've like only started to feel like, oh, I am Filipino. You know, I've been trying to like kind of be very blank about it for a long time. And reading about Asian American experiences in the United States has been like, wow, there's all this, like, there's a legacy, there's a history, there's so much going on that is a part of me that I wasn't even aware of. And so, you know, honoring your own voice, I think, is really important for kids, and to feel like they can make whatever they want and there's nothing wrong about it. You're not doing it wrong if you are at least showing up and doing it.
I love that. Olivia,
Piggybacking on that a little bit. I'm mixed, like Marlon you mentioned earlier, and you know, being mixed automatically disqualifies me from a category my entire life. I mean, I grew up brown in San Antonio, so people just thought I was Mexican. I'm not that. So, uh, and then musically too. I mean, it fits sort of in places. So you know, I felt it was kind of like a nice little. It's not a superpower, but it did bolster anything that I wanted to make. Automatically wasn't going to fit into a category, so it didn't. It no longer mattered. I could just kind of make however it came out. Didn't need a genre. So
Olivia, I wanted to ask, you know, would you say anything, what would you say to people your age, classmates or friends, you know, if they asked you for advice as far as wanting to make music, what would you tell them from your perspective on how to start or how to feel comfortable with trying something out?
I'm gonna say something for also people that don't that want to do anything. Okay. Never give up and keep trying.
That's
Yes.
nice.
Great advice. Perfect. She said it simply as possible.
Exactly. Summed it up perfectly.
All the lines were like in 2 lines, simply.
It was
Really
perfect.
what I'm all saying.
That was wonderful advice, Olivia.
Here
Yes.
I was like
Thank
struggling
you.
for like 20 lines to say the same thing.
Yeah, that all of everything y'all were talking about, it made me think of we last year in March the ARC had a teen career day, and it was the first time we'd ever put on this event, and the goal of it was to show students, you know, all of these pathways that they could explore, you know, that they should be able to pursue what they're interested in, and they can be successful at it, right? And so and like a lot of y'all were saying, like, you need to have those role models. And so a lot of the feedback we got from students was like, you know, wow, I saw somebody that is a filmmaker, you know, is a dancer, and they are making a career out of this, and that opened up that possibility to them. And so I think, you know, like you're saying, it's really important to have those role models and see people from the community, you know, and represented by different identities, different cultures. And you know, I want to kind of close out our talk with a last question to y'all. So it is Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and we just had our Celebrasia event on May 1st, which you can watch via Facebook if you missed the event, the live stream. But the theme of our Celebrasia this year was uniting cultures and celebrating our diverse APA heritage identities, cultures, and history. And as we saw from just our small group of artists, you know, we're all coming from all of these diverse identities just in this room. And so I think sometimes Asian American gets lumped into one category, right? And so we are so diverse. And so if you would just, you know, kind of close it out by telling us, like, how do you celebrate your heritage, whether it's through music or some other favorite tradition that you have?
There are some really cool Indian festivals that I do love to celebrate, like Diwali and Holi, and that's where you know, you have some really nice cultural immersion, and you know, brings back some nostalgia, creates some nostalgia too for back home. But really, I think I feel like you just live that experience essentially. I think you know, it's the aspiration is, of course, to, you know, imbibe and live the best of both worlds, take the best from both cultures. And here it's a melting pot. You kind of also become a part of that culture, and you know, right? So, but really, I think I celebrate it by just living that experience of being Asian American or Indian American. Um, you know, a lot of my core comes from growing up in India, and I spent most of my adult life here. So that has also formed me uh, in a very significant way. So that's what I would say.
I celebrate by learning Tagalog. Um, I don't think that I just need to say that I don't think that is a prerequisite for being considered Filipino. There's enough people wondering if they're Filipino enough. Speaking the language, you don't have to be Filipino enough. I feel like that's a really important thing to say, but I am learning it because my Lola is getting pretty old, and whenever I speak to her in Tagalog, she like comes alive, and these stories come out that like things that she didn't even know what I was trying to ask, uh, like come out. Like I just found out we're Ilocano, and and that was because I found out how to speak Tagalog, like tell her that in Tagalog. And so now I've been celebrating by we're sending each other like letters now, and she's like testing me because like I can't read all of the whole letters, but like now she's sending me a bunch of letters, and I'm getting them framed and stuff. And anyways, that's how I'm celebrating this,
I love that so much.
and I want to share it. So if anybody wants to learn, I really want to share.
I go sing karaoke with my mom at home, Filipino, so that's how it goes.
I think I've been re-exploring. I didn't, my mom, she came from like, I think there's a really interesting discussion right now. There's a whole movement in the Philippines, like it's actually called the Babaylan kind of movement, where it's like females are kind of reclaiming old pre-colonization heritage and exploring that. And I've been reading some of their writings, and it's really cool, but it kind of explained where my mom was coming from, in that she had a lot of shame around being Filipino. And a lot of that culture was shut down for me, where that entire side, the language, and thank you for saying that, like you don't need to prove your Filipino-ness by being able to speak the language. It's hard, because I have gone back, and the first question you get is, can you speak? And I can't speak anything. So it does feel like almost like a distant experience. I know that even just me existing as a Filipino American is itself like recreating culture. Like we are creating culture every day we wake up and participate in the world. We are making culture, and you can recreate it in the way that is, it's almost like an organic, beautiful thing that is going to be different than the tradition. It's informed by tradition, but it is also changing with our perspective. And I like, almost getting to be an anthropologist with my own heritage, and getting to read perspectives and go, this like explains like some things from my mother, but it also explains, there's this inner resonance with it, probably like an old kind of soul connection or something. It's awesome. But I think, how I'm going to really celebrate it is like watch all of your performances and see more Filipino, and seek out more like Asian American music, and like eat lots of Filipino food. Bless my elders.
I love that, MJ. I think that was perfect. So celebrate AP Heritage Month by watching Tones. Thank you all so much for sharing so openly with us, and allowing all of us to get to know you a little better, and everybody that's watching tonight. Thank you, Marlon and Fabian. The Tone series would not be possible without all of y'all amazing artists, and, the ARC team and Marlon for co-curating this. So we now have great sets up by each of our artists. We hope you enjoy the music tonight, and Please complete the survey. Let us know how you enjoy the program. Your feedback matters to us. Thank you for celebrating APA Heritage Month with the Asian American Resource Center. Enjoy.
Hey, how's it going? This is Honey Sun, and I'm happy to be here for the Asian American Resource Center. I have been Filipino for just about all of my life, so it's nice to be a part of this. I'm going to kick us off, and then I think I'll be joined by my daughter in a little bit if we can catch her before her bedtime. So let's go ahead and get started. It's a mess for me to clean up. It's a mess for me to stay. Hope you're watching, 'cause I'm tired of all the messes that were made. In a minute, silver spooning. There's a mess for me today. Hope you're watching, 'cause I'm tired of all the messes that were made, that we made, that we made. Hip-hop is not a group, and it's a unit of one. That paper needs a feather, ain't no pen to be found. I don't even think of you as a swan anymore. I don't even think of you as a swan anymore. I don't even think of you as a swan anymore. I don't even think of you as a swan anymore. I don't even think of you as a swan anymore. I don't even think of you as a swan anymore. I don't think of you as swan. 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 As a I think she actually might be ready. Hey, Olivia, you want to help me out?
Sure, Dad.
Okay. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm glad to be here. As you see, I will be performing with my dad. I'm glad to be here with the Asian American Resource Center.
That's it.
And I hope you like the song.
Oh, it's starting. Finders keepers, getting what you deserve. Getting what you deserve. deserve. Getting what you deserve. Getting what you deserve. Yeah, play with it. Getting what you deserve. Take it.
I think that was good.
Thanks, good.
We did a great job. That was awesome. Wow. Wow. Good. I like you.
Let's see. I'm gonna change this. Okay.
How about another song, kid?
Yeah.
Cool. Hello, is it me you're looking for? There's a plague outside, you don't go away. Holding a mouthful of feet, I'm in it, pressing a press and repeat. I'm in it, any old style won't work. I mean it, taking a man as a word. It's personal, beating the wolves to the beast. For dinner, Jesus won't take care of me. A sinner, baby, the wolf won't leave. A clinger, baby, the wolf is me. Rip shirt, dry hurt, head full of blood. I thought damn sure I was when I left. If mistakes were made, I paid the major. I better check for my name in the paper. Put all the shame on me. I did it, douse me with gasoline. To finish any old style don't work. I mean it, taking a man is a work. It's personal. No, you're not too loud. You're good. This one's a little different than the others.
Yeah, and we just called it Bluegrass Tune because we didn't really give it a title yet,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to call it the Untitled Tune.
That's okay. Thought I did, sorry I didn't know. I'm a dancing fool. Sorry for the way I stay in step. Give me some more time, some more time. Some more time, some more time. Some more time.
Daddy dear, sorry I didn't know. I'm a stinking fool. Sorry for the ways I did not grow. Give me some more time, some more time.
Some more time,
Some more time.
some more time.
Daddy dear, sorry I didn't know.
What you trying to tell me you think you're thinking for?
Sorry for the way that I don't grow.
What's the rush? It ain't no time at
Give
all.
me some more time, some more time. Some more time, some more time. Some more time, time. Some more time.
Thanks, kid.
No problem. And cut.
Hi, I'm Adobo. Thank you so much for being here. Honored to play the Asian American Resource Center. Caught between the symptoms of a dream, caught between them all my boards to call a gathering. But I would rather long for something new than come up short. If all my weight could push the envelope, then I would write a letter to my hope, and hope that you would smile like swing sets and let go of the wind, let go. Of the wind, let go. I'm caught between the symptoms of a dream. I'm caught between them all my ports to call a gathering. But I would rather long for something new and come up short. If all my weight could push the envelope, then I would write a letter to my hope, and hope that you would smile like swing sets and let go of the wind, let go. Let go. Thank you so much. All in a garden green, I sit and wait, trying to comprehend what it even means to be all the things I do for love, what do they do for me? Seems so much less well with you. If we wake up and we skip like all in a garden green, I sit and wait, trying to comprehend what it even means to be. All in a garden green, I sit and wait, trying to comprehend what it even means to Thanks. So I put out a record a little bit ago with this band called the Kraken Quartet, and we actually put it out right before the pandemic, so we haven't even had a release show. But I wanted to play something off that record for y'all. So again, thank you for being here. I'm Adobo. You can check me out on Bandcamp and everything like that. And again, thank you so much for being here. It's hard to get by when I can't rely on the fluidity of the spring, emphasizing my life and where I'm going. I'm floating through this life. If only you told me. Am I just a backdrop to the lands, locations, bouncing blood, leaving us colorblind, cognizant. Floating through this life. If only you told me. Doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be, have to be bad, have to be bad, have to get bad to get better. It doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be, have to be bad, have to be bad, have to be bad to get better. Thanks, y'all. I just have one more. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Adobo, and I'm really honored to be doing this. Thank you so much for Marlon helping put this together. And yeah. This one is a song from, I have another band called Hikes, and this is a song we put out a while ago. And I wanted to sing this in honor of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So it's called Mahal Kita. Natatakot akong mawala. Ang maling manay na multo na iniwan mo sa akin, na umawag sa akin na pang ako'y naligaw. ako lang ang kailangan mo. Pero aantayin ba ako ng panaginip? Hindi. Pauwi na ako, naipit sa landas na iwan sa aking tuwa. Noong umaga, umiyak ka sa akin. Buong buhay mo ay nagkahawak tayo hanggang gabi. Inay, kayo lang ang kailangan mo. Pero ika'y nanatili buhay, magmahal, alam mo. Kailangan mo ng ulan. Kailangan mo ng ulan. Kailangan mo ng ulan. Kailangan mo ng ulan. Kailangan ko 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 ng ulan. Pauwi na ako, naipit sa landas na iwan sa aking tuwa. Maraming salamat. I'm Adobo. Thank you so much for being here. वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्व
Staying behind a curtain, you know it's only sheer. Can make up your mind. Are you here or are you there? I see you. I hear you. I know you. Through all the walls that surround you. Speaking in a whisper, wanting to be heard, counting all your reasons. Would you hide or would you shine? I see you. I hear you. I know you. Through all the walls that surround you.
Thank you, AARC, for having us here today to play this lovely event. We're playing for Tones and celebrating APA Heritage Month this May. I have Miss Katie Murray here on bass, Mr. Matt Muling on guitar. This next song is a devotional written by Sant Eknath. Eknath says that wherever I see, in my waking hours, in my dreams, I only see God. Guru Kripanjana, payo mere bhai, Ram bina kachu janat nahi. Guru Kripanjana, Guru Kripanjana, Guru Kripanjana, payo mere bhai, Ram bina kachu janat nahi, Ram bina kachu janat nahi. अंतर राम ही, अंतर राम ही, बाहिर राम ही, अंतर राम ही, बाहिर राम ही, जहाँ देखो सो राम ही, राम ही. जागत राम ही, जागत राम ही, सोवत राम ही, जागत राम ही, सोवत राम ही, सपने में राजा राम ही, राम ही. एका जनार्दनी रे दे रे ना एका जनार्दनी भावहिनी का, एका जनार्दनी भावहिनी का, जो देखो सो राम सरी का, राम सरी का. गुरु कृपांजना, गुरु कृपांजना, गुरु कृपांजना. You keep going guess until then you will stay, till one day your heart will say, can't take it anymore, why don't you run away? Until then you will stay, till one day your heart will say, can't take it anymore, why don't you run away? Why don't you run away? Why don't you run away? Are you scared to be happy? Scared to be free? So don't in love with yourself. You gave up so easy. I guess until then you will stay, till one day your heart will say, I can't take it anymore, why don't you run away? Until then you will stay, till one day your heart will say, can't take it anymore, why don't you run away? Why don't you run away? Why don't you run away? You keep going back to a familiar place, even though it's hurting bad. You try to find no escape. I guess until then you will stay, till one day your heart will say, can't take it anymore, why don't you run away? Until then you will stay, till one day your heart will say, can't take it anymore, why don't you run away? Why don't you run away? Why don't you run away? This last song that we will present today is a Sufi composition, Damadam Mast Kalandar. It's a song that is sung across the Indian subcontinent in various forms by so many different amazing singers across India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and other places. Damadam Mast Kalandar. लाल मेरी लाल, ओ लाल मेरी पत रखियो बला झूले लालना जिंदड़ी दा से वनदा सकीशा बाज कलंदर लाल मेरी हिंद सिंध पीरा तेरी नौबत वाजे हिंद सिंध पीरा तेरी नौबत वाजे नाल बजे घड़ी याल बला झूले लालण ओ नाल बजे हाय ओ नाल बजे घड़ी याल बला झूले लालण सिंधड़ी दा सेवड़ दा सखी शाहबाज कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम दम दे अंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दा पहला नंबर ओ लाल मेरी ओ लाल मेरी टेक इट मैन dum 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 ali ali 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 dum 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 ali ali dum 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 ali ali dum 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 ali ali हर दम पीरा तेरी खैर होवे हर दम पीरा तेरी खैर होवे नाम अली बेड़ा पार लगा झूले लालण ओ नाम अली हाय ओ नाम अली बेड़ा पार लगा झूले लालण सिंधड़ी दा सेवड़ दा सखी शाहबाज कलंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम धम दे अंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दा पहला नंबर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम धम दे अंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दा पहला नंबर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम धम दे अंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दा पहला नंबर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दम धम दे अंदर दमादम मस्त कलंदर अली दा पहला नंबर दमादम 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 Miss Katie Marie, Matt Muling here. I'm Nagavali. Thank you again, AARC, for having us for Tones. Thank you.